We're going to be setting up a basic website with floats. So we've got the typical header, navigation, the menu, and the footer. And we're going to be using the floats. So it floats for both the 3-column design as well as the navigation bar links, applying the different pseudo classes and the pseudo elements in order to clear the floats, and then applying various styling properties in order to make it look like a website. We're going to update this typical web page layout to have a 3-column design. So we've got a header, navigation, the main content area, and a footer area. It's making a selection of these, and then we're going to be adding these using a float. So first off, let's go ahead and we're going to open up the styling and clear out any styling that we had there previously, and apply the border box because we are going to be using the floats. So that's going to be done to all of the page elements. Selecting all of the page elements and set the box sizing for those page elements to be border box. So that way when we set up the columns, which is the next one that we're going to be selecting, we can set a width for those to be 33%, and that way we can have them fit properly on the page. So I'm going to set them to be 33%. Also add in a border for them so that we can clearly see all the different columns. So that can be one pick solid black border. So there's our columns. Let's set a default height for them, and the height can be 200 pixels. And then using the float, we can float them to the left. So set them up as float, and I'll float them to the left. So that sets up the basic for the 3-column. I'll also do a text align to center align the text that we have, and set that as center aligned for the text. So we've got the 3 columns there, and we want to set the footer. So I've added in classes for the footer and for the header. So selecting the footer and the header, and then I'll set them up both. So just comma, separate out both of those selections. I'll set the text align, and we'll center align the text. We'll set the background of both of them so they're both going to be matching, and set it as a black background. The color of the font can be white. So there's our footers there. And it's actually being applied to the columns because we didn't clear afterwards. So we want to clear after the selection of the main content. And I'll give this one a class of main so that we can select it within the styling. And we want to apply the clear fix for that main element. So selecting it and then using the pseudo, set it afterwards. So we're going to set some content there. And this will allow us to do the clear fix on both of those. And the content can just be some blank content. And set the display as a table display, and then using a clear to clear both of them. So clearing all of the floats and do a clear of both. So that will once again allow us to have the header and the footer separated, and because these columns, because of the float, they were floating on top of the header and footer. Let's set a height for these, and this can be 120 pixels. And set the line height for them so that we can center align vertically align the text. And of course, if you're adding in more text, then you'd need to update what the line height is. So right now I'm not going to be adding any additional text, so I'm just setting it up as the line height. Also for the navigation bar, so it's going to be the nav bar. I'm going to give it a class of nav, so in case we want to reuse the tags, different parts of the page, we're going to select it as a class of nav. And for the navigation bar, we can align the text to center align. Let's do a background color for the content and set that up as red. Let's also go ahead and we're going to add in some divs in there. And then we'll use these divs and we're going to align them using the floats as well. So selecting within the nav, the divs, and we can also do the divs that are immediately within the nav, and set that up to float to the left. Add some padding for the divs, 10 pixels. And we also want to do the clear fix for afterwards. So comma separate, and that's also where we've got the floats. And this should also be set to after. And I'm going to set this one as well to after. So we're setting that div to clear afterwards. And for the divs, set a width of 25 pixels. Set a width of 25 pixels. Also center align the text because we do have the 4 items there within the list. And I'll set a background color for each of them. So I'll set the background color to be red, and the font color can be white for those. So there's our links. Whenever we hover over them, or they're not links yet, but we'd have to add in the links. So we're going to update the background color whenever they're hovered over. And I'll set the background color to be black. And the color can go to red. And that's how you can set up a basic website with floats.